Hello, this is your Unit 21 lesson. We are on page 287, and this lesson is about occupations and professions. Some more familiar stuff that you're going to see in this lesson too, because we've kind of been talking about it throughout. But let's go ahead and get started. So, looking on page 220 or 288, there is a grammar note. And they're talking about adding that suffix to make something a person, which we already know is called the agent. So as a reminder, that is this. So when you add this to a sign, it makes it a person. So very important as we're talking about professions here in this chapter, because you could say, weld, but that doesn't mean that that's a welder. So you have to remember to include that when you're talking about the person. All right. And we're going to go over all of these signs in the vocabulary, so I'm going to skip that for now. Next is another important grammar note on page 290, and this is about rhetoricals. So I think we may have touched on this a little bit, but this kind of goes into more explanation, and you can read through and look at the examples that they have here. But you can use the sign questions, the like who, what, where, when, why, how, to, as a rhetorical statement. So basically what that means is instead of using like the English word for is or am, or because there aren't signs for that, you can set up your sentence to include a rhetorical to replace it. So what that means, for example, is like so tomorrow I go where? The mall. So I answer my own question, which makes it rhetorical, but it also kind of replaces those English words that are missing to help it make more sense. And in this book, in this example, they're using why, or why as the example, so you can go ahead and read through there. And when you sign rhetoricals, especially in these examples here, you will go, your eyebrows will be up and your head is tilted forward. It's just like you're assigning like a conditional or a yes/no question, because you're answering your own question. So tomorrow I must go to the store. Why? Because I ran out of milk. Now, if you were typing this, you wouldn't type the rhetorical question. If you were voicing it, you wouldn't voice the rhetorical question. You kind of just leave it out. It's between you and the other signer to know what that means. All right, that is grammar note on 290. We're going to keep moving. Make sure that you're doing all of these exercises and going through all of these sentences. All right, and next there's a note on page 293 that is about the sign for understand. So you remember we learned understand and don't understand. You can negate it to mean that you don't understand, not understand, okay? So that's one way to use it, is to show that you have an understanding or you don't have an understanding. You're following, you're getting it, or you're just not. That's one way. Another way is to use like as a clarification, a condition, or stipulation. So that comes more at like the beginning of the sentence. So the example that they have is this, or straight. Understand, it's 10 hours straight. So that's like, just know that it's like a 10-hour shift. So you can use that as like a heads up. It's kind of almost like a warning, but it's to point out and to clarify whatever you're going to sign. It kind of adds more emphasis to it. Okay, moving on. Make sure that you're going through all the key structures. Page 295, there's another note, and this note is about the sign for get regularly. So that is what they're showing you in these above pictures, and it's like this. So anytime something is up here, it kind of shows that they have power or control. And the sign for government is like that, government. And so when you're getting something from the government, that's kind of where it's coming from. So this sign is used for like Social Security, or like a monthly check that you would get on the regular. So this is what that looks like. Sometimes people will use that for like a magazine subscription, but most often it is used for like unemployment or Social Security, getting something from the government. All right, and now here we are to the vocabulary. We have weld. Weld. Remember, if you add the agent, it becomes welder for all of these. Okay. Paint. So the paint that they're showing you right here in the book is two-handed with the big hand here. That would be as in you're painting a building, you're painting a wall. So if you're a painter and that's the kind of painting you do, that would be the sign that you use. Otherwise, you could use like artist. If you paint like pictures, you would be an artist. And then if you're going to paint your nails, it's a two-finger, paint your nails. Or if you're just doing like finger painting, okay, because that's a lot smaller. Remember we talked about that with like building something small, building something big. It's the same idea. Painting something big, painting something small. All right, next up we have interpret. So there are a couple different ways to sign this, and the meanings are different. When you're talking about the profession of interpreting and you're saying interpreter, it's interpreter. And I interpret ASL. Interpret. If you are going to like interpret a message, interpret. Interpret. Okay, so a little different meaning there. Next up is a repeat. Dance. And then you know you can add the agent for dance for. And another repeat, we had like advice before. Same sign. Counsel. So you could be a counselor. Farm is next. You start on your non-dominant side and your thumb is touching and you go across. Farm. Farmer. Another common word for this is agriculture. Farm or agriculture. Then we have fix car. So this is like really fixing a lot of things, but like a mechanic too. Mechanic. Secretary. Secretary. So it's like you take a V. I've also seen it with a U. Secretary or secretary. And these ones you don't use the agent, the suffix, you don't use it for these because they already are exactly what they mean. Next up is nurse. Nurse. It's on the inside of your palm there. Nurse. And we had talked about before, doctor. Sometimes you'll see it with a D, doctor. Remember we had duty up here, and then doctor, doctor, nurse. Principal, and this means the job, not like rules and principles. This is the job of being principal of a school. Principal. Dentist. So they sign dentist like this in the book, which here in Michigan is teeth. We use dentist or dentist. This is the English with a D. Dentist or dentist. Teeth. Boss. 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 All right. Earn, and this could be like your income. Like if you money earn, that's your income. This could be the grade that you earned in class. Earn. Then we have benefits. So volunteer and shirt was like this. When I was actually like pulling on my shirt, benefits. It's kind of like you're putting something in your pocket. Benefits. Insurance. This is also the same sign for infection, actually. So, insurance and infection. Deductions. So this is like subtract. Subtract, take it away from, deduct. I just got my non-dominant here and I'm like taking it away. deductions. Raise. That's that sign for increase. For a raise, I would clarify it with money first. Raise. Increase. Next up is priest. This also does not require the agent. Priest, like their collar. Priest. Priest. Preacher is the offhand shape. Preacher. This does require the agent. Preacher. Rabbi. G shapes. You draw, I'm drawing a blank on what that is called right now, but that clothing item that they wear. Rabbi. Next up is apply. So same as shirt and volunteer. They're all three the same sign. It depends on context that you'll know the difference with that one. Alright, switch over is kind of like travel. So we have travel around, or we could do a switch. Travel around, switch. See the difference? A little shorter. Subordinate. This just means someone is under. Someone's under you. This is my dominant hand here. Subordinate. Bridge. My dominant hand is in the V shape. Non-dominant makes the part the cars go on. Bridge. Free. 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 Other signs similar to that. Independent. Independent and free. Next up is in jail. There's a couple variations for this one. So they are showing you right now the sign for jail. Dominance back here. Jail. 2 times. If you were in jail yourself, you could be in jail, like behind bars. Jail, in jail. Invite. So I'm that person over there, and I invited over to my house, or I got invited over to their house. Grass comes from under the chin, the 5 shape grass. Grass. Next up is feed. So this is used like if you're going to like feed the chickens. Feed. Feed. Then we have check, which is another repeat. Check. Check. Deposit. So this could be like you're depositing money into the bank. It also could be the glaciers deposited sediment. Deposit. Straight, which is another sign we already know. Straight, straightforward, blunt. Retired. Retired is with the R's. Retired. Retired. I worked continuously for a long time, but now I'm retired. Different things. So we know the sign for different. Also, this is used for but, B-U-T, but. When you have a lot of different things, or like sort of like a variety, you can do different, different, different. So like I work as an interpreter and my jobs are always different. Alright? Then we talked about get regularly, like Social Security, unemployment coming from the government. Swell. Cool. Cool. My thumb is touching. It's kind of like fine, but your fingers wiggle. Cool. And then this is another repeat. Steal. Steal. That. Steal. And that is the end of Unit 21.